welcome to the Susanville City Council meeting last and national.
I know where you're
County Supervisor, meet the candidates 2020. Yeah, and I've been retired for a few years, so I'm totally at practice. Go for you to live there. Anyways, I'm not going to introduce everybody because their cards are in front of you. We were asking that people write down questions on cards, so do we have some cards ready, Teresa?
Ready.
Go ahead and jump into, my name is Heidi Perry, and I'm the facilitator, and so if there's something that you want to jump in, and I ask that you raise your hand, although there's not a whole lot of people here, so just wiggle a lot too, and I'll get your attention. Okay, this meeting is being video recorded, so it can be shared with other community members. So let's keep our comments positive. And we'd like to forego talking about the homeless issue tonight, just because next week's going to be this big meeting about that topic. And so we wanted to focus tonight on these three topics: public trust, public safety, and economic development. So we've labeled the cards in order to talk about those topics. So, and we're going to combine cards so we don't have a lot of duplicity. So hopefully if your question is asked by multiple people, it will all get answered at once. And we're kind of limited because of the number of candidates. We're kind of limited to time. So that's another reason that we kind of have it down to 3 topics. So we'll get through all your questions, and then if there's time at the end, then we can do one-on-one. Otherwise, we'll just keep rolling and see what happens. There is food so that nobody's tummy is growling to your backside, since it's directly after dinner. So except for the candidates, I don't know how you're going to sneak over there and get food unless you want to go get it now. But please, folks, help yourself and take breaks as needed. The bathrooms are down the hallway. And so if there isn't any other questions about facilities, yes?
Just have another card from another.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started because this is, okay, so first question I have is on economic development. How do the county candidates plan to encourage high-paying jobs to build consumer base for local businesses to succeed? So let's see. Let's start with Chris.
Hello. Okay. Well, difficult issue since it really has been difficult to get people to come up into our part of the area to bring new business, but it's encouraging to see businesses such as Tim Noble's business take over the old mill here, and my understanding is that his jobs are pretty high paying. He's bringing in more and more people. In fact, I talked to him the other night, and he said he's having to turn down jobs or turn down work because he doesn't have enough people to get the jobs done, and he can't ramp up fast enough. So we need to find more industry such as Tim has brought, and like I've always said, local businesses is the heart and soul of what Madison County is about. If we're going to do something it's going to be a local business that starts. And we're seeing that as a result of some of the cleanup and things that have been done in Westwood. We've seen 3 new businesses at least start there. We have the new Super White Y Market on Highway 36 that just opened here not long ago. We have the Dollar General that opened late last year, and then the Blue Ox Cafe. And the Blue Ox Cafe is an interesting one because the people came from outside the area and thought it was a great place to start business, and so they did. And I think they're doing pretty well. So if we can encourage those people to get startups and bring in employees and make sure that what they start are good quality businesses, I think we'll do well.
Thank you. let's hear from Randy on that same question. How do you plan to encourage high-paying jobs in the county?
Thank you, Heidi. I think we've got to start at a ground base for that. We're in a place where there are things that need to be done before we can even really encourage that. Of course, we're always going to encourage new business and growth, but things such as infrastructure, I think there's ground rules we have to have in place. Making sure that what we have is conducive to new business is really important. What our community looks like, the services we offer, the health services we offer, we need to prepare our community to receive new and upcoming business. It's like you wouldn't take your car to a dirty car wash where you're going to end up getting it dirtier than you go to a dirty car wash. You don't want to wash your car there. It's the same way with the community. You want to set up a business in the community. You want to make it new, and you want to be inviting to the community. I mean, you want the community to be inviting to new business. So checking out our infrastructure is important. Making Lassen County a desirable place to relocate with business is important. I think that we've got to evaluate what we have and what we could possibly have. We've got to have an understanding of this stuff before we expect too much change. Thinking outside the box, utilizing the resources we have. These are areas which I would actually want to dig into first and before. I mean, if somebody wants to come piling in here and start up some new business, that's wonderful. I worked with Tim Nobles for quite a while, and I was really encouraged also by what Tim does, and that is a really good example of what this community has the potential to do. But we have resources here, and we need to take advantage of those resources. But we need to start at ground level and then work our way back up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David, same question.
Got a couple points on this one. To begin with, we are not in a situation where we have growth in our communities right now. And so the very first thing that we have to fight for is retention of those businesses that we have. And that way, that is Honey Lake Power, that is the first year of my supervisor job, fighting to keep those contracts. Following that was Morning Glory, where they certainly pay better for their drivers than perhaps our bus drivers even. And so both of those are examples of how you have to retain jobs before you can go out and get them. The other part to our problem is that we assume that government is going to be able to tell us where the markets are, but the markets are here already, and businesses are designed to either use them or exploit them, to profit from them. And so our job, first and foremost, is to remove those regulations that we can. This being California, that isn't always easy. Then our second part is to keep our fees and taxes to the bare minimum, and yet retain public safety. And finally, infrastructure. You mentioned that government does have a place in making sure that the infrastructure around us makes it conducive for businesses to come into our area. But I do have, it's a conservative fiscal opinion that most businesses already know where the markets are. And so we aren't going to be able to create high-paying jobs here if they don't already exist. So the other area that we work on there through NORTEC at the county level is the lowest level jobs, the micro incubators. And that's why I'm interested in working stuff like the Lassen Luminous, wait, I gotta get this right because they just changed it. It's the Lassen MODOC Adult Education Consortium. That's the body that works on some of the welding programs out of high schools. The sheriff uses it very well with Ann Weaver in the jail to give high school diplomas, to earn, so that folks in the jail can earn high school diplomas. Because fundamentally, you have to have the low-paying jobs to build the higher-paying jobs on top of, and we're not even doing that well. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. Nicholas, same question. How do you plan to encourage high-paying jobs to build a consumer base in Lassen County?
So, first thing we gotta do is change our attitude. The county hasn't been friendly to businesses coming to the area. We don't market our area well. You look at the Nortec report, and 57% of our employment is government-based. We can't sustain on that. We need to diversify our economy. Creating new opportunities, going out and begging people to come here. We might get something off of that, but getting out of our own way. When I was on city council, we didn't go ask for Ross and Big Five and Tractor Supply and Aaron's. We didn't ask all them to come in. We just got out of our own way. We had such a convoluted system to figure out what a permit was going to cost so you could start your business up. That it discouraged people when they go away. We had a hog rendering plant that looked at Lassen County a decade ago or so, and after so long they wanted to another county in a different state. And it's just that old school mindset that we're not welcoming, we don't want change. I can see a pellet manufacturing facility here. We don't have the fuels for timber, for large timber processing anymore. That's all of our mills left, but you still have fuels that have to be harvested off of the forest to keep fires down. And you have a lot of money being spent on things like through Fire Safe Council to keep fire risks down, but we don't have many places to take those fuels. So something like a pellet manufacturing plant, but we gotta create that enterprise opportunity for those people and show them it's here. So ultimately, it's gonna be marketing. You got Reno with huge tax breaks, so to get business away from Reno to come to California with personal income tax and all the other things that go along with it is going to be a challenge. But I think we have the opportunity to get people to live here for a way of life and work in Reno. And it's not necessarily the answer to that question, but it is an answer. You get property tax and sales tax, and those people living here and recreating here. That could be a big boost to the economy without creating high-paying jobs. So.
Okay. This next question is about public safety. And Rod, I'm going to start with you. This is a little lengthy, so hold on while I try to read this. It says, I'm a believer in preventative measures. For example, the parking lot behind the Veterans Hall is pitch black at night and has uneven surfaces, creating the perfect opportunity for a dangerous encounter of a serious injury, perhaps resulting in a lawsuit in parens. Will you be assessing such areas for improvement? That's the first question. And again, this is public safety. And then I hope to see safer passage for all the public in all of our parking lots, and I fear those improvements won't occur until there is a tragedy. Historically, that has been an impetus for change. So the question for the folks in the city, will you be assessing areas for improvement for public safety? Essentially, that's the question, right? Okay.